Anyway, so far we already know many things to go mathematically, to do uh, several things in computer science, in mathematics, in a style of mathematics. So we are already on track of learning the language of mathematics, and this is must for everybody to learn mathematics wherever they whatever their field is. That's why you can see that always up to 10th grade mathematics is a compulsory subject for everybody, because this is the language of the universe. Now sometimes, in fact most of the times, in the universe always there is a pattern. If you look at the the earth, you can see the layers of the earth are following a specific pattern. So most of the things in your real life, they follow a step by step pattern to move forward. Even if you want to go to the roof of your house and you use a ladder to go up, then of course it has steps. Every single step means a lot. If there is no single step, if there is no this step, you can't jump from here to here. So things happen in a pattern, in organized way. If you don't do the things in an organized way, if you don't do the things with a pattern, if you don't do the things in the style of mathematics, you always mess up with the whole situation. So an important method for building such kind of situation, for proving a situation which follows a certain pattern, is called mathematical induction. It's a very, if you say two things you can say about mathematical induction. One thing is that it is a very easy way, easy approach to prove something. And the other thing is it is a very difficult thing to involve it into the pattern of anything. So at the same time it's easy, at the same time it's difficult. Difficult in a sense that sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes the situation is not according to the mathematical induction, but you try to implement the mathematical induction to prove the situation and you get wrong results. And sometimes how complex a situation is doesn't matter, but it actually can be solved by using the mathematical induction. So it can be solved easily. So the proof, we will discuss how to prove something by using the way of induction. But first we should know why and what is induction. So I told you already something about it, that why we need it. The universe, whole universe is actually following a pattern. Seasons, they follow a sequence. Mathematical induction is one of the most recent technique to prove any kind of situation which can be defined in the style of mathematics, which can be defined in the language of mathematics. And specifically mathematical induction is used to prove, to conjecture, make check the conjectures about the outcomes of processes that follow a certain pattern, that follow um, a certain repeated patterns. This is a technique. So far, before that, we have studied other techniques, and we were dealing with the number theory, we were talking about logics, we were talking about several other things. Since now this chapter is based on the based on the sequences. So the most, and what is a sequence? A sequence is a pattern. If there is no pattern in a certain range of numbers, then you cannot say this is a sequence. Sequence itself means a pattern. So that's why we are now going to define mathematical induction, because it is used to prove pattern, it is used to prove sequences. Let us write the principle of mathematical induction, and I will use MI later on. MI means mathematical induction. Suppose we have a property P of n, and what is this n? I'm saying n is an integer, and I also have a fixed number a, fixed integer a, for this number a. I'm saying this is a fixed number, any number. We will do an example and you will see what is this a. But important thing is n is integer, a is integer, but n is a random integer on the real line. A is a specific number on the real line, but integer. Then, according to the principle of mathematical induction, first step is we need to check that when I plug in this value, this integer a, into my statement, into my function p of n, it is true. So first thing I need to check that when I use this fixed integer into the p of n, it should be true. We will do an example, you will understand. Now the second step is that, okay, the statement p of n is true for a. Now I'm assuming that suppose if it is true for a, suppose it is true for all n up to k. For any number, random number k, I am supposing that this is true. For example, if this is the set where n start, this is my a, and this starts from here, this is n, and here in between I say this is k. Now first step is that I need to check whether where I am standing here. This is my position, first step, and this is the function here. So the rule says first you have to check that where you are standing, does this exist or not. If, for example, you want to climb up to the roof and you want to use the ladder to go, you want to use the stairs to go to the roof, but so the first thing is to climb up the stairs, that you should be on ground. If there is no ground, it means you do not exist if there is no ground. So first thing is you have to show that yes, I am standing here at the ground. This is my initial stage. Then you can talk about the further stages. So the first thing is prove your existence at the initial point A. Once you have proved it, that yes, it exists. Now suppose that okay, up to here, all this region, I am supposing that this also exists. Means 2, 3, 4 up to k, the thing exists. I am assuming. Then I need to check that if the function p of n is true for this, then it should be true for the very next step, which is here, k plus 1. After k, if you go back to the sequence said the very consecutive number of any sequence, if the sequence is k, then the next number, if it is ending at k, then the next number is k plus 1, then k plus 2, and so on. So you are adding 1 to get the next consecutive integer. So similar is the case here. Prove the first one, then jump up to as many as k and say that okay, it is also true for all these k numbers. So let me prove it that from k to k plus 1, is it true? If you are successful to prove it that from k to k plus 1 it's also true, the p of n, then you can generalize that okay, for all this region n, the p of n is true. So the principle of mathematical induction is that whatever the number a is, first prove the function for this number. This is first step, and this is called the basis step. This step, this one is called the basis. Once you have proved it for a, then suppose that this can be true for n for all the k number of integers. Now this step is actually the inductive step. From here onward, you are actually applying the induction. You are actually trying to go from k to k plus 1, and you are taking the advantage of induction to prove it that okay, for any k, the k plus 1 is also following the same pattern according to k. And when you succeed in doing this, then you can generalize it that okay, first I proved it is true for a, then I assumed it is true for k, and then I proved it is also true for k plus 1. This simply says that if this pattern is true for all the integers n on the given interval. I already explained to you that how it will work, but I have written all this thing on paper for you so you can read it yourself as well. But the two steps important. First is the basis step, prove it for the a. The second is called the inductive step, that is you try to build something on the basis of your supposition. We have an example, and we are going to use the method of induction to prove it. Use the method of induction to show that 1 plus 2 plus 3 so on plus n is equal to n into n plus 1 divided by 2, where the number n is greater than or equal to 1. So in the principle of mathematical induction, we were talking about p of n, we were talking about the integer n, and we were talking about the integer a. So in every question, first we will have to figure out these three things. We have to figure out what is p of n, we have to figure out what is n, and we have to figure out what is a. This whole thing is the statement of the question, and I told you that p of n is a statement. So I can say this is my p of n, this is a statement, and the statement says that sum of first n integers can be written as n into n plus 1 divided by 2. Means the left hand side is equal to right hand side. This is a statement. I'm assuming that this whole scenario is p of n. Now look at this condition. The condition says that your n should be greater than or equal to 1, then this statement is true, otherwise not. If n is less than 1 or if n is 0, then maybe there is a problem. So I can see this is n, okay, I got it. And the other thing which I need every time when you will apply mathematical induction, you will need these three things. P of n, I got it, n here written, here I got it. So the remaining option is a, this thing is a. So it means my a is 1 in this example. Now let's try to prove it is true or not. The first part was that prove that p of a is true. This was the show that p of a is true. So while first step we need to prove this, then we will move to the next one. But in this case, a equals to 1. This simply means I need to prove that p of 1 is true. What does this mean? It simply means that if I plug in 1 in the function p of n, the left hand side should be equal to the right hand side. So what is p of n? This whole thing. Now I need to put 1 instead of n in this whole situation to check whether it is true or not. If I plug in 1 in the left hand side, what does it mean? What is the left hand side? The left hand side says that sum of first n integers, this is actually the left hand side. Now if I am saying that n equals to 1, if this equals to 1, this is 1, then what does this mean? It means the sum of first 1 integers. Sum of first 1 integers means what? Means how many integers?
Ones.
1. So it actually means when I place 1 instead of n, so it simply means the sum of first 1 integers, and of course first 1 integer is 1. So when I plug in 1 on the left hand side, the answer is 1. Now let's go to the right hand side. On the right hand side, simply again plug in 1 wherever there is n. I put 1 into 1 plus 1 divided by 2. When I simplify, it is 1. So the right hand side is equal to the left hand side for the step 1. So I am successful for the step 1. Now I can move to the step 2. So I have proved the basis step. Now let's go to the step 2. And step 2 says step 2 is suppose p of k is true. What does this mean? It simply means that wherever there is n, replace the n with k and assume that this is true. So I'm saying that 1 plus 2 plus 3 and so on plus k equals to k into k plus 1 whole divided by 2. This is true. Let me say this is equation 1. Now this is not, we do not need to prove it. We are assuming that this is true. So I will use this thing in the third step. This is true. We have keep in your mind that this thing is proved. This is true. Now step 3 is show that p of k plus 1 is true. I already proved p of 1 myself. From the theorem I got the benefit and I got this thing at another data that okay, if there is k, then this thing is true. Now from this I got from the benefit of the theorem. So this is another thing which I have now in my pocket. So I have two things in my pocket. I have p of 1 which I proved myself. I have p of k which the theorem gave me as a gift. So I will use both of these things to prove this step. Now this is crucial. So actually when you are doing mathematical induction, step 1 p of 1 is your job. Step 2 coming from the theorem, it is the job of the theorem. You don't need to do it. Step 3 is your job. 1 my job, I done it. Now I'm going to do my second job, which is the step 3, to show that this whole statement is true when n is equal to k plus 1. So first let us try to write out when I plug in k plus 1 instead of n, then what will be this statement look like? So p of k plus 1 will look like 1 plus 2 plus so on plus, instead of n Now use k plus 1. Plus 1 on the right hand side. Instead of n, use k plus 1 into k plus 1 plus this one and divided by 2. So actually now I have to show this. I have to prove that left hand side is equal to the right hand side. If I succeed in proving this, then I will say that okay, in general this thing is true. So far we are not sure whether it is true or not. Oh, I removed p of k. From p of k, I got that 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus k equals to k into k plus 1 divided by 2. I know this. This was gifted to me. So we will use it. So I need this one equation. Now this is equation 2. Now in this equation, let us try to prove that left hand side is equal to right hand side or not. So let us pick up the left hand side first. The left hand side is 1 plus 2 plus so on plus k plus 1. What does this mean? It means the sum of first k plus 1 integers. I can split it into two parts. If you have something, if you have like 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, then you can write it as 6 plus 4. Means you have split the whole thing into two parts. This is the first part and this is the second part. Similar thing I am going to do here. So let me split it up to k, means the sum of first k integers plus the remaining one integer, which is k plus 1. Am I right here? The sum of first, if you are writing 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, what is it? It is the sum of first 4 integers. I want to split it. I say that 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Now what is it? It is the sum of first 3 integers plus the remaining one integer, which is 4. Similar is the case here. The sum of first k integers plus the remaining one. So, or you can write it as in the next step. Yeah, I already did that. Plus k. Of course, if k plus 1 is an integer, then the previous integer before k plus 1 should be k. So I split the whole thing into two parts. Now, for this thing, I can use this equation 1. The sum of first k integers is equal to k into k plus 1 divided by 2. This is exactly, this thing is exactly the left hand side of this thing. So I can use the right part of this thing to replace here. And I replace it here. So it is k into k plus 1 whole divided by 2 plus this. Now take the LCM, do the manipulations, and it will become, this is my left hand side. Now keep it noted. This is the left hand side. Let me say this is equation 2. Go to the right hand side. On the right hand side, you can see if you multiply them together, k plus 1 into k plus 2 divided by 2. This will become k square plus 3k plus 1 divided by 2. And this is exactly equal to the left hand side. So this means the mathematical induction, I have proved that this statement is true for 1, and this statement is also true for k plus 1, and therefore I can say that yes, this statement is true for all the n if n is greater than or equal to 1. There is a definition and it is called closed form. If something, for example, we just saw that 1 plus 2 plus 3, we already proved it, plus n equals to n into n plus 1 divided by 2. In this whole expression, there is no symbol involved, there is no this thing, no, there is no multiplication, there is no summation. So if, but still something from the real numbers is written into a compact form, into a formula, into the form of a formula. Although there is no summation symbol used, although there is no product symbol used, sum of something can also be written in the form of formula. There is no symbol used, summation, but still this formula is valid. On the right, when you open up, all the things are equal. So if something which is summation of some terms, a sum of some terms of the sequence, but still there is no sign of summation, still it is written in the form of formula, then it is called a closed form. This thing, 2 plus 4 plus 6 up to 500. One method is, if I ask you to do this, one method is that pick up the calculator and add the numbers from 2 to 500. 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10 and so on up to 500. So 1 hour is here. The other method is, look at this sequence and try to convert this into already known formulas. From this, I can see that this looks like something similar to the formula which we have proved right here before, up to so on up to n. We said the sum of first n integers, and this is also sum of first even sum of even integers up to 500. So this is similar to this, but you cannot directly apply this here. You cannot say n is 500 because this is for the even integers. This one is for the whole integers, 1, 2, 3. It has the odd and even all. This has even integers only. So directly you cannot replace it, but I can do something. If I take 2, I can see 2 is a common factor in all. If I take 2 as a common factor, then what is left? 1, from here 2, from here 3, and so on. Of course, if it is 500, then if I take 2 common out of it, it is 250. Now this one, this thing is exactly this one. So I can say that it is 2 into in this thing I said if you have sum of first n integers, then it can be written as n into n plus 1 divided by 2. So whatever the last number will be, it will be my n. This is the same pattern. The last number is my n. So I can replace this formula with this last number. So I can say it is 2 into, what is n? N is 250. 250 into 250 plus 1 and a whole divided by this formula 2. Now just do the calculation and you get the answer. So observing the sequence, observing the pattern in the sequence, you saved 59 minutes of your life. There was a person whose name was Carl Friedrich Gauss. Gauss is a very famous name in mathematics, especially in the set theory. So when he was studying in the school life, his teacher was annoyed by him, so he asked him to go sit and add the numbers from 1 to 100. He asked him, go and add these numbers up to 100 on the calculator and give me the answer. He didn't do that. He didn't took out the calculator. In his mind, he observed what can be the situation here, what can be the pattern made here. So he said, okay, if I add this number with this number, the answer will be 101. Now before 100, there is 99. He said, if I add 99 into the second number, the answer will be 101. Similarly, if I add 98 into 3, the answer will be 101. and the same pattern will go up to 50. So it actually means that you have 50 pairs of 101. So simply he did that 50 into 101 and that's your answer.
Wow, sir, yes.
No, he didn't took out the calculator. He didn't do anything. He got this idea and he solved it in 1 minute. And when he put it up to the teacher was surprised that how did you do that? And he said, I simply made these kind of pairs in my mind and I got an idea that it's simple. I will get 50 pairs of 101. So I simply multiplied 50 with 101 and that's the answer. And from there, these kind of things happened and this was the first idea. And from this idea, the later people, they started working on many other similar kind of things and they made a lot of patterns, and you can see the triangles and things made by the number theory. They are actually coming up from the idea of that child of the school grade. So, another good thing is geometric series. Geometric sequence. It has a name which is called geometric sequence, geometric series. So the question is that can you prove using the induction that this is true? The left hand side is equal to the right hand side. So we are going to prove it using the induction method. Step 1. Now there must be, whenever this series is written, there must be a condition on n. If there is no condition on n, then how can you get the value of a? So the condition on n is that n should be greater than or equal to 0. So it means my a is 0. So I can start from a equals to 0. So the first step is, now this, first you have to figure out what is your p of n. Of course, this whole statement is my p of n. Now I have to deal with p of n. The first step for a equals to 0. The second step, I will assume that this is true for k. Third step, I will try to prove it for k plus 1. So for p equals a equals to 0, let me say p of 0. Then what will be p of 0? P of 0 means the left hand side is summation I from 0 to, now what is the value of n? 0. Ri. What does this mean? It simply means that expand this sum for these values. So I is actually starting from 0 and reaching up to 0. So there is only one possibility for I, that it should be 0. So I can expand this sum and I can write it as r raised to the power 0 and this is 1. This is my left hand side. Now let's look at the right hand side. All this thing I am doing for p of 0 when n equals to 0. On the right hand side, replace n with 0. So r raised to the power 0 plus 1, r power 1, that is r minus 1 divided by r minus 1, cancel out and the answer is 1. So I am successful for the first step, that when n equals to 0, the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. The second step is, suppose the statement is true for n equals to k. Second step is, suppose p of k is true. What does that mean? It means wherever there is n, replace it with k. So I am saying summation I from 0 to k. Instead of n, now I have k. Ri, this is equal to r raised to the power k plus 1 minus 1 divided by r minus 1. Now this is a gift to me. I'm going to, this is equation 1. Now this is another data. First I only have this data. With my efforts I proved that for p of 0 this is true. Now they gave me another data. This data you can only get when you prove the first step. So first you have to prove the first step. If it is true, then this gift is given to you. Now I have this information also. This is proved. Now the step 3. Let me try to prove it for k plus 1. So wherever there is k, wherever there is n, replace the n with k plus 1. That simply means summation I from 0 to k plus 1, this thing, Ri, on the right it is equal to r raised to the power k plus 1 for the n, plus this one minus 1 divided by r minus 1, and this I can write it as k plus 2. So r power k plus 2 minus 1 over r minus 1. So I have to prove that now in this situation, can I show the left hand side equal to the right hand side? What should we do? So you mean to say that on the left I have this sum, left hand side is equal to summation I from 0 to k plus 1 Ri. Try to split it in such a way that the things behave like this thing become k, and the rest of the thing, which is additional thing, now this is k plus 1. What does this mean? It actually means if you have sum I from 0 to k plus 1, this simply means that there are k plus 1 terms to be added all together. So you can say that I can add up to k terms all together, and I can write the k plus 1 term separately. So whenever you get k plus 1, try to split it into one part having k, and whatever left over is, write it separately. Here in this case, if I want to split it into k and the rest over, what can I do? I can say summation I from 0 to k r raised to the power I. Now I totally have k plus 1 terms. I have taken k terms separate. What is left over? The last term. Oh, sorry, here it is at k plus 1. K plus 1 term is now separate, and other k terms are now here. Now for this, I already have a relation. This is exactly the left hand side of equation 2. So I can use this thing, and I can say that left hand side of this bigger equation is actually equal to, what is this? This is equal to this. So I can replace that with k plus 1 minus 1 over r minus 1 plus this separated term r raised to the power k plus 1. Now take the LCM, do the multiplications. This is, now what is this? If you go back to original formula, this, what is this? If you compare it with this thing, you can say that it is actually r power k plus 1 plus 1 minus 1 whole divided by r minus 1. Another example solved on the paper, you can see it. And so the first proof was done by using the induction. We can have another small proof of the same geometric series formula. First proof, we already proved the geometric series using the method of induction. Now we have an alternative proof, and we say that suppose we have a sum Sn equals to 1 plus r square plus so on up to r raised to the power n. Then if I multiply this whole thing with r into Sn, this thing, if I multiply r with it, what will become? Here it will be r, it will become r square, it will become r cube, and so on up to r power n plus 1. Now if you do r Sn, this equation 2 and this is 1, if you do 2 minus 1, that is r Sn minus Sn, on the right it will become r plus r square plus so on r power n plus 1 minus 1 plus r plus r square and so on up to r power n. What do you see? You can see this r will cancel with this r because there is a minus sign. Square will cancel here. From here, the only term will be left r power n plus 1. From here, because this rn will also cancel, because before this rn plus 1, there is a term rn. So this will cancel out with this. So the all terms here cancel with these. The only left term is here rn plus 1 and the only term left here is 1. This. Now if we take Sn common from the left hand side, it becomes Sn into r minus 1. On the right it is r power n plus 1 minus 1. So Sn equals to, this goes to the divisor, rn plus 1 minus 1 whole divided by r minus 1. This is again proved that the sum of sequence of this type is always equal to this closed form. If we have a sequence, any sequence in this form, that is 1 plus r square, r cube and so on up to rn, then this always equal to this closed form, which is known as the geometric sequence. So this was the second proof of geometric sequence. First proof we done with mathematical induction and the second proof is done this way.